Welcome to the Business Spotlight podcast. My name is Kay Cote, and I am your host for today's episode. And today we have Patrick Roney, president of ProLedge, with me as my guest. We're going to learn all about his business, his journey to business ownership, some challenges he may have faced, and best practices that he's learned on his journey to give you that inside look to what it's like to run and operate a business. If this is your first time on our channel, be sure to like and subscribe to get notifications when we drop episodes like this. Hi, Patrick. It's great to meet you.
Very good to meet you as well.
Yes, well, thanks so much for being on the show today. Let's kick it off with tell me a little bit about yourself.
About myself, I'm 57 years old. I've run a couple of businesses before this one with ProLedge. I originally went into business with a business partner. We've been around about 17 years now, a little over 17 years. Back in 2012, we used to do more things where we were utilizing technology. That's primarily what my business partner did, is some of the IT technological side. Well, some things changed in the business environment that made it more cost effective for us to outsource some of those services. So back in 2012, he came to me and said, "You're running the whole business. I'm not really doing anything. So will you buy me out?" So I bought him out at that point, and then have been the president and owner since then.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Thank you for a little bit of background on your business. I'd like to learn more about what ProLedge is and what services you guys offer.
Okay, we are a full service bookkeeping and QuickBooks consulting, QuickBooks training firm. Part of the goal behind ProLedge is to get business owners to proactively use their financial statements to run their business. Too many business owners use their financial statements to hand to their CPA and get their taxes done after the fact, and they really can't utilize what's going on in their business till after the year's already over. And it doesn't do them near as much good as if they were able to proactively look for things that may be challenging their business and do things to correct them before they get out of hand. So that's a big part of what we do. And as well as getting business owners to actually understand what things mean on a financial statement. To a lot of business owners, they're very good at running their business, but they're not very good at necessarily understanding what a financial statement actually means. And so we work to help them to understand how to interpret that financial statement to help them make better decisions on their business.
Oh, definitely. This is a huge resource for business owners. And I'm a business owner myself, and that is one place I struggle. So I can relate to that. I want to know your why. What made you decide to go into this business?
Well, part of it was like originally after college, I did things where I ran my own office. That was not my own business. But I did national workshops on building high performance teams and things like that. So I decided that running a business might be something that I would be good at. So originally, I co-ran with another business partner a firm that did accounting, bookkeeping, and CPA services. And we had that business for quite a while. And unexpectedly, my business partner, right before tax time was about to kick up, like passed away from a heart attack suddenly.
Mm.
And so I was left where I didn't have the resources to get everything done that needed to be done. So I sold that business a while back. And then after that point, started a business that was more focused on creating some technology to help the accounting profession. We had like investors lined up, pretty large investors with that business. Then the big tech crash happened, and all our investors pulled out right at that time. So that was a real challenge that all our funding went away. So that business was closed. And so for a little while, I did client acquisition for large CPA firms here in Texas and also in Colorado. And then I met the person I bought this business from that was originally my business partner, and he was working to get this started here in Austin. And so I said, I can really help you. We jumped in together, and then that's kind of where it came from there.
Okay, so you bought the business and it was already established, and then you and your business partner.
No, it was just getting started when I
Oh,
met my business partner. We were business partners for a while. And then, like
okay.
I had said, the part of the technology part that he did, it became cheaper to outsource that than for us to do it ourselves. And so I bought him out at that point.
Okay, okay. Thank you for clarifying that.
Sure.
Uh, this is a great business. This is a really incredible asset to the business community as well. Looking at the 17 years in business that you've had, what is something, you touched on a couple of things that maybe were challenging, but what was something that really, really challenged you, and how did you overcome it?
I would say our biggest challenge is we have 5 offices now. We started off in just Austin, and that was pretty simple. Like new client acquisition at that point was all done in person. I'm the one who handled most of that. So I would say the biggest challenge is when we decided we wanted to expand to another city. The first one was going to be Houston. And so I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, that's going to be a lot of back and forth travel for myself from Houston to Austin. So it was creating a plan to not always have to have that client acquisition being done in person.
Hmm.
And then once we created that plan and I seemed to make it work, then I started making it work in Austin. And then it was a lot easier to expand to Dallas, Fort Worth, and San Antonio.
Oh, that's incredible too, because then it's like you created this almost like the first expansion, and then that made it easier to expand into the other cities.
Of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just we had something to base it on and we knew what worked and what didn't.
Definitely. And now looking at your business today, how do you put yourself out there in the market? How are you attracting clients? What kind of marketing strategies are you using?
The most effective, as always, for almost any business is word of mouth and referrals from other clients. Those are when another client refers a new client to us, it's pretty much 100% new client. There, I mean, almost never do those particular referrals not become clients. The other main thing we use is a lot of digital marketing and online marketing through things like Google, as well as SEO through our website. So that's probably the primary source. We don't really utilize any type of telemarketing or anything like that, calling people on the phone. We don't do mailers. We don't do any of that. So it's primarily both online and then especially referrals and word of mouth. A lot of CPA firms that we provide services for their clients refer us a lot of business because they know the books will be right.
Definitely. And looking at your 5 offices now, how many total like employees do you have? How's your team looking these days?
It's about 35 employees. The And we have a good mix of employees from people that just do some of the basic bookkeeping type stuff to quite a few CPAs that decided that they didn't want to do taxes any longer because they were sick of working 80, 90 hours a week during tax time. So they decided that they could still do accounting, but not have to have the grind of the tax season every year. And they could spend more time with their families and quality of life.
Mm, definitely. And looking at, like, say, the next 3 to 5 years, where do you want to see your businesses grow?
The the next decision is whether we'll expand into other states. That's the next decision, and one that is more of a struggle because it's a huge commitment and huge time investment, especially on my part to do that. And so I have to keep in mind my quality of life and how much and how quickly I would want to do that.
Yeah, definitely. That's a golden nugget I think that you just like touched on is, looking at the quality of life and within the expansion process and looking at weighing those out. I think that's like a huge thing that business owners struggle with. So thank you for sharing about that as you get ready for the next 3 to 5 years. Looking at your leadership style, as a leader, how would you describe your leadership style?
I primarily have, but I purposefully, in some cases, have people step up and do things that they may not be the most comfortable with, because I find that that's the way that they will actually learn and become better and more confident in that. And I mean, I know that was the case for me, and that's the case with a lot of the people that work with me. They'll tell me, "Hey, I really didn't want to do that, but thanks for getting me to do that, because now I have no problem doing that anymore." So it's kind of about helping people grow just as a business person in general, or in their career path, or whatever it may be. And so, and then I also, because of the nature of our business, I have access to a lot of business owners that I also work to help and use leadership, kind of my leadership style with them, to help them become more successful. And in turn, it helps us because they become larger clients. And that's a good thing for us, because that increases the amount that we do for them.
Definitely. And, looking at your approach to, staying kind of on this topic, to hiring and retaining your team members, what have you found to be a successful, I guess, way to hire and retain team?
Well, what we partially looked at when we decided to go into this industry, there weren't a lot of large bookkeeping businesses out there. And so we discussed, why not? And there are a lot of good bookkeepers. Why aren't there a lot of large bookkeeping businesses that they've developed? We found out that a lot of the things it takes to run a successful business, people that tended to be bookkeepers didn't enjoy doing those things. So part of what we founded the company for is to take all those things they didn't enjoy and take them off their plate and let them focus on what they actually enjoyed doing. And so it brings that quality of life to people that work with us, where they're happy with what they're doing and they're not having to do any of the stuff that they didn't want to do. Now, that's a little different when we're talking about people on my leadership team. I'll challenge them in ways that they won't expect. But, people that just, want a regular job and they're happy with that, I'm not going to put in those uncomfortable situations at all. I'll let them do what they enjoy.
Hmm. It's kind of like knowing who wants to do what and where to push them at what time.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of got to identify that and find out. And we find out a lot of that even in the interview process. They'll let you know if you
Definitely.
ask the right questions.
Yes. Yes, definitely. And this has been such a great conversation. Thank you so much for sharing this far. I'd like to dive into our what I call our rapid fire questions, where I ask you
Great.
the four top of mind questions.
Okay.
All right.
Fire
Question
away.
number one. Question number one is, what is a key to success for you?
Well, the ultimate key for success is happiness. I mean, if you're not happy with what you're doing and when you with yourself, you're not going to be successful. Period, in my opinion. So I think that's the ultimate key, and also leaving clients in a better place than they were in when they first got into the initial call that they made to us. That is successful to me, because we help business owners.
Definitely. Number two is, what is a piece of advice you have for other business owners?
I would say, and this comes back from a prior business that I ran when we lost our funding. And that would be make sure that you're taking care of yourself too, as far as being a business owner. When we lost our funding, I paid everybody but myself for quite a while, and I learned not to do that again. Let's just put it that way.
Mm, that's a huge key for sure. The third one is, what is a piece of content you've taken in recently? It could be a book, a podcast, or just anything that stood out to you.
I've been doing a lot of reading and podcasting and trainings recently on futures and options trading, so that it really doesn't tie in necessarily to the conversation we're having about this business, but I like to constantly challenge myself and learn new things.
Definitely. And the final question is, if you could wave a magic wand and overnight improve one aspect of your business, what would it be?
It would probably be right now the challenge of currently something we decided at the end of the last year is we are changing our pricing model, and it would be just to have that already be completely done, including with all the existing clients that may not be used to the way that we're going to do things going forward.
That's a good one. That's something I could dive into for a whole episode on. That price thing is that is a big one. So, yes, well, thank you for answering those rapid fire questions. And now, how can people connect with your business online?
Let's proledge.com is the easy way, and has all the local numbers for our 5 offices. And the one thing that's a little unusual, I would say, is when clients reach out and contact us, every new client has my direct cell phone number, which is very unusual for a business with 5 offices, that they have the owner's cell phone number in case there are any issues.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your contact info. This has been such a great conversation, Patrick. For our final question today, what is most inspiring to you today?
Inspiring to me today. Well, beautiful weather's nice, so I might be getting outside after work this afternoon. But I would say just trying to be the best person that I could be and help as many people as I can. That's really important to me.
That's inspiring to me as well. And again, this has been a great conversation. Thank you so much for your time being on the show.
All right, thank you.